My presentation is called The National Timeout. When I started to think about this issue of national interest, all these big issues started springing to mind, and environment and economy and society, and I just thought, wow, everything seems to be so big and disconnected, and this idea of national interest seems to be something that's coming from outside. Everything seems so important, it would seem impossible to think of one idea without talking about the other. And I just felt confused, and this idea of the country as a sinking ship, and I didn't really know where my head was at on the whole thing. And I felt a bit grim, and I didn't really know what to present my idea on. And then a very strange thing happened, and stay with me here because it is relevant. I had one of those moments recently when kind of looking at my life, and I realized, oh my God, I am my mother. And basically because I kind of realized in many areas of my life how much of a rule book that we follow that we don't actually write ourselves. And it comes from people and contexts that we don't actually know, and that don't fit where we're at currently in our own lives. And while it's kind of cringy to realize that, there was also kind of liberty in the knowledge that we're now free to kind of write my own in a certain sense. And this thought kind of catapulted itself onto a national scale, just as I was thinking about it. And I realized, like me, like the country, like all of our leaders, they're kind of running around like headless chickens at the moment. And there's a sense that we don't really know where to turn next, and everyone is posing solutions and clutching the nearest straw. But how do we know any of those directions are the right ones? There's so many voices, there's so much opinion, and it seems to be leading to a sense of confusion and disorientation about where we're going to turn and what's going to happen next. So I guess when all of these kind of issues are happening, and we have our heritage and our history and all that we are, and obviously we have all these global influences and our economy, but again, these kind of questions of where do we fit into all of these, and how do these fit into the Irish context, and how we just feel about our country and what we're actually interested in. And we're kind of looking to answer questions and find direction when I feel we haven't really stopped to ask the questions in terms of economy and environment, like where are we going to invest our time and talent and energy, and what are our everyday interests, and what do we want to represent? And we have this wonderful, like, as I said, tradition and past, and just I was thinking of this kind of thing of what hymn sheet are we singing from, and whose hymn sheet are we actually singing from, and which elements of the past fit, and which elements of the past just simply don't. So I think I got this sense of, like myself, I had to call time on myself, and I think we all just need to put our hands up and go, actually, we don't know what the national interest is, and we don't really know where we're going. And imagine if Enda Kenny stood up and said, you know what, lads, I actually haven't got a clue. How would we feel about that, you know? And would we see the possibility and the chance in that to kind of grow our own direction, and again writing our own rules? So I call a national timeout on this whole headless chicken kind of direction that we're in at the moment, and just a chance for everyone to actually sit down, face ourselves, and kind of ruminate on our mistakes before we go off into all of these big directions again and make more. Maybe there's ideas like, you know, instead of a national census of population, how about a census of the heart, where we actually sit down and we ask, and we have a big national document that looks at these things, and regional PechaKucha nights and things like this, because at the end of the day, we're all paying money, our taxes, into our communal pot, and we have the capability and the capacity within us all to be able to determine where that goes, and that doesn't have to be imprinted by other people external to us. It doesn't have to come from that rule book. So again, this idea that we're all our own national superheroes, and we don't need to keep looking up for guidance, that it's in everyone on the street, and everyone has a voice, and everyone has an opinion on this, and has their own thoughts and expressions on it. So if we can get all of those out at kind of a national round table, and just enjoy the experimentation. Enjoy the experimentation is really a big part, and kind of enjoy expressing that and looking at ideas and kind of getting rid of this bland kind of wash that we've kind of painted over ourselves and removed all our colors somehow in this last 2 decades. So, oh, my rule book was gone. There it is. Yeah, a new rule book from next year. That's my dream anyway. Or something I'd like to invoke some thought on. And again, just the idea of kind of facing ourselves, because we have a bit of a messy present, and kind of looking at the reality of our situation with some honesty for a change and some courage, and trusting that we actually can determine our own unknowns. And there's one more, and yeah, again, remembering just like who we are, what we've come from, and looking at the best of our past, and remembering that the ones that are here aren't second-class citizens, that we have as much talent and capacity and creativity as the ones that have left Ireland, and that we should maybe step back and rewrite our own direction in Technicolor.